Remember that rhythm. Better. There you go. Knowing that you gotta push it to that side is so important, right? When your energy and your body's going with you, your arm's gonna always. People do this kind of grip. I tried it for a while. I think it is really good. It's one of the most common and traditional. There's also, you know, a few other ones. You just want to get one that feels comfortable and is not feeling like it's slipping out too early or something. If you're doing it like this and it is slipping out too early, you can kind of turn the fingers inward a little bit more and you can get a better pressure there so it's not going to slide off the edge.
As opposed to on the side.
Right, and I feel like when you're aiming it, it's better to have it more on the front of that pad there, so you're just more in touch with exactly where it is as opposed to the side of it. You know, the side thing's good because it keeps your palm up when you're keeping it more sideways, but if you turn it in a little bit and just know not to roll your wrist over, it'll still get you pretty good action on it. Okay. Right? And so the way I like to think about it, after we get our lineup and everything, is gonna be kind of like a swinging chop. It's not like a really choppy motion, but it's the best way I can say it to explain what it feels like. It's like you're coming through smooth and you just kind of chop it. Like I said, it's not like a really aggressive, but it is, you do want to finish that energy forward with a little bit of crispness. You know what I mean?
So as I'm coming through it, essentially, I guess with the chop,
right,
that's where I should be, like, get my wrist forward.
Yep, right about this area here. The reason why sometimes people will turn it over or get that late release is because they think about starting the chop here and then it finishes there. You want to start all that back here, be releasing it here, and have it jump to where you want, right?
So that's where you want.
Right, and it's not like a let it there. It's like you know that your arm is snapping through there and then following through, right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So let's get in the stance. Let's make sure we're lined up correctly. And so one thing that I see a lot with people, backhand and forehand, when you're trying to learn, is the knees aren't bent enough, right? The knees have to be bent in order for you to efficiently shift your weight back and forth, because that weight shift, especially from a standstill, which you need to be able to do, that weight shift is what's going to help you push your arm without doing something really aggressive with your arm, right? It's going to help you maintain your energy throughout the round. Your arm's not going to get tired from you just blasting it, you know what I mean? Okay. And it's just going to be more controlled because your body's creating the flow and your arm is just following, right? Okay. Right? So we're here. Let's go together. One thing I always say with the standstill too is it's good to kind of go forward a little bit just to get the motion going.
Because you want to get you flowing.
That rocking, yeah, because you want to feel like you're fluid and flowing when you go, right? A lot of guys like pros that you'll see, I'm not saying it's wrong, I think they do it great. They're here, and then they just start by going back, and they kind of explode a little more, they snap it. I feel like that can make you lose your release point if you're not really, really good at controlling it. So for an easier way to control your release point from a standstill, I think using this rocking motion is a lot smoother and cleaner for getting that seamless release, right? So you see that? The other thing you want to do, which you're already doing well, is you want to make sure you do tuck it in against that skin. If there's any space in there, it's going to be able to wobble. You're not going to have as much control. Some guys do teach, keep it a little bit out so you can get more whip. I feel like that creates more off-axis torque, off-axis torque, and a less consistent release point because that whippiness, right? You're getting enough whip from the way your joints are going against themselves and then coming through. You don't need to add that little space there to give you extra. Not right now, maybe later, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we got the knees bent. One thing I feel about the sidearm is important for most of the shots you're gonna throw with it, because most shots, backhand and forehand, I teach to throw with a slight hyzer, at least a little bit, because that's the way most Frisbees were made in general. At first, we just made them a little bit more stable along the way, but they're still based on that slight hyzer that finishes, right? That's the basis of it. So you want to think about it that way, work with it, right? So we're here. The thing about throwing that hyzer is you do want to have your weight a little bit over, not a lot though. I think the taller you are, the more you might have to exaggerate it, but for normal people, it's just here straight up and it's just a little bit forward. What that's going to do when you follow through and get your twist and your snap through, it's gonna, that forward lean is gonna help make sure you don't turn it over. Because when you're leaned forward like this, slightly, not too much, and you go to follow through, your hand wants to, it's hard to make your hand go there unless you really do something with your wrist.
Right.
If you're standing up, it's way easier for your arm to do that. But this kind of helps make sure, the hard thing to do is that you don't want to do it too much, because you'll just swoop it a lot, right? So you want to find that middle ground. For me, I just tell people stand straight up and then lean forward slightly, and that's it right there. And when you do that, for me, it kind of creates this pocket right here and this path. While it's like lean forward a little bit, you see now like there's this pocket under you kind of, and your arm's gonna come right back through there naturally, and the elbows kind of, you know what I mean? It kind of opens up that space for you, right? And so the other thing too is it is a high to low, but you want to make sure that when you're coming through, it feels like you're following through at this level, not coming down, because that's what's going to swoop it, right? So you want to feel like you're going from here to about that low. One thing that I know for sidearms for myself, the target point, which is always important when you're throwing a shot, the target point for sidearms is lower, because when you're throwing a sidearm, the release is lower versus a backhand where your release is more about this height, right? So you got to aim a little bit lower, but just know all your posture and everything and all that to make sure you're still getting it where you want, right? Okay. Let me see you start with the rocking motion. Don't let your arm go up too high and too low. Try and keep it more like right here, and then shoo.
Okay. You want me to actually throw it?
No, not this time. We're just going to go through it a few times and get the flow.
Okay.
One other thing that I forget, a lot of little things. When you've been doing something right for a while, it's easy to forget the small things. So doing it in front of me makes it easier for me to remember. I see people sometimes they start with the forehand in front. You want to start with it back here already, right? What that's going to do is it's again going to stop it from whipping uncontrollably. Because if you have it here and you go here, that's a lot of whip, right? As opposed to here, a controlled pop.
Oh,
as opposed to a lag. Creating the lag does help you get more power and stuff, especially backhand, but you got to be really careful about it with the sidearm, because it's already so whippy that that extra whip that you're generating is not really necessary or helpful, you know what I mean? So start with it back, and what you can think about is wrist all the way back. Just tell yourself wrist back here. You don't want to start with it in front of you. Wrist back here, yep. Let's make sure this thumb is actually pressing a little bit. There you go. Because we don't want it floating in our hand. You want to press, right? Okay. There you go, right? Yeah, yeah. Then you want to really have a sure grip. You want to know that what you're doing really feels like you know exactly how it's going to come out of your hand, right? Not like you're crushing on it, but you want to have it in there pretty clean, right?
Right.
And so for me, it's less of a this, and it's more of a. So let's go together. Start in here where you have it. Wrist back, right? And your posture a little forward. So we'll go forward. And let's make sure your legs are correct too, right? You want the left leg on this side, and you want the right leg a little bit back here. What that's going to do is that's going to, like I said, open up this side for you and make it a lot easier for your arm to go where it's supposed to. When you're here, it's hard to get your arm over there where it's supposed to be, right? Right. So the posture and the way you set up the shot and everything makes it so much easier for your arm to get where it's supposed to be, right? So let's go ahead, go through it a couple times, and we're going to let you throw a couple. Okay. Wrist back. Yep. Yep, a lot of little stuff to remember. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like,
yep.
All right.
Well, while you're learning it, it's going to be like this, but the more you practice it for a couple weeks, the less you'll have to think about all this little stuff. I'll send you a list after of stuff we talked about to help you remember. Right? And so, remember, so you want to start here, 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 right? Wrist is back. See how, like, my energy's coming with it before I do the snap. You don't want to barely come forward and swing your arm a lot, right? Right. The body has to come barely before it and then bring it. The body will bring the arm. Kinda, yep. Let's try a couple so you can start getting the feel for it. Yep, so we got the stance, we got our posture slightly lean, that's good. Yep, got it back, yep. Not bad, it's gonna wobble a little bit at first, but that's not bad.
Okay.
Feel different?
Yeah, well,
it's gonna feel weird.
It kind of, yeah. It's I mean, that went further with less effort.
Nice. That's what you want to feel. If you're feeling less effort, that means you're going to have more control, because you're not putting your awareness now and focus on creating energy. You're just putting your awareness on what's supposed to happen and where you're supposed to guide it. Not bad. The only thing there is so I'm not sure, I think your feet were off again. See how they're not this way and they're this way?
Okay.
You just moved them after I said it, but yeah.
I need to be more open?
Yeah, a little bit, but not. They do say the sidearm, you can think of it as a front-facing throw. I like to think of it like a little bit turned away, but kind of almost like you are facing front, right? A little bit turned away for me helps you make sure you're going to get it where you want without having to do something like that and rotate your body too much, and still come back to this forward-facing finish. It's going to take a little bit before it feels comfortable, but let's go from the ground up so we don't forget anything, all right? There you go. And it might not be as wide, but you'll have to play with it to figure out what feels comfortable. I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing to remember, most of the weight should be on the front of your toes for when you're throwing hyzers, right? If you're back here, it's also going to be really easy to throw that way.
Okay.
All right? Because even if you're trying to keep yourself here, but you're on the back of your toes, it's going to be easy to do that.
So I should kind of be leaning forward.
Right,
kind
just
of
like that. You feel more athletic already, more in control. Yep.
Right.
That's why the knees got to be bent. Yep. And so the other thing I want you to focus on, don't bring it up too high right now. Think about it more as just here, just here. It's a lot easier to hit the clean angle. The better you get, the more you can wind it up like that.
Okay.
But that's more room for error, right? So you want to think about it more as on line the whole time. Maybe just a little bit up above the line you're coming through, and then down through it flat. Right, there you go, more like that. Let's do it together because this helps too. Get in your start stance, wrist back. Yep, everything looks pretty good. Let's get this leg out a little bit more. There you go, yep. That'll start to feel more comfortable.
And that's more straight or?
Like that, close to straight but not straight. There you go, kind of like that. Now, after you get good at it, after a week or two of practice, you'll start to naturally line up more correctly because you'll start to get more awareness of where it's supposed to be,
where
right?
Where it goes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Okay.
So let's have it here together. Let's go together, right? Forward. Let's make sure your angle is the same too. It looks pretty similar, yep. So forward, back, and when it's back, see how far I'm not reaching very far. You're bringing it farther out.
I'm going further.
Right, that's all you need. So you can think about it as just a little bit away from here. Not much, right?
Okay.
So then when you come back, right? Let's try a couple. Smooth, but only thing was the energy wasn't coming through to this side how we wanted to. One thing I didn't say yet, which let's go ahead. I'll grab it. You want to make sure when you're doing it, it feels like you're coming here a little bit and then coming through yourself, right? To get to that side. You don't want to feel like the arm's just outside of the body swinging as you turn.
So I'm more kind of using my body weight to kind of also
Right, yeah. And you're not moving out of the way. What it is instinctively you think I can't come through here because my body's in the way. But as you start to pull and rotate, everything will work together as long as you push it here a little bit outside and bring it back in. You don't want to push it too far. It's more like slightly out, the same direction that your energy is coming back, and then slightly back through. It should all be following your body's energy. You start your shift going this way slightly when you first start to throw. You come back away, and so that's why you want to have it back here. So let's go back here, right? And so if you have it here, it's way easier to hit your line. Not too high though, right? Right? And so there you go. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
right,
going
and that's
up.
why it's making it harder. Like I said, later on you can do that, and you'll see pros do that. But right now you want to keep it more on line. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to hit your line.
Okay.
And don't let it come so low though, right? It should feel like it's coming through your belly area. It shouldn't be lower than your belly. Lower than that is too low, right? It should be right here in line with your belly.
Okay.
Backhand, more so here. Sidearm should feel like it's coming past there. For me, that helps me have the right awareness when it's coming past me. I know I should feel like my arm's coming past this area.
Right, yeah.
That helps you be more aware of it correctly, right?
Yeah.
So let's go smooth together, but don't throw yet, and let's just match it, all right?
Okay.
So start with the back. Let me look back here. That thumb has to be pressing. You're letting it up a little, right? You gotta press, yep. So make sure the grip, stance, so let's go from the ground up. Stance is right. All right, cool. Knees are big, yep. We're almost facing forward, but not. We got our grip, perfect. Thumb squeezing. You got it in there, yep. All this stuff, you'll start to make mental lists that you'll just check every time naturally, right? So you're here. So remember my wrist back. There you go. It's a lot of little stuff to remember, but you can put it all together if you can practice enough, right? So keep it back. So forward, back. There you go. Now forward slowly. Yeah, right? So let's go really slow on the way through to really get the perfect, yeah. Do it really slow when you're learning it, and then later on you can do it. We want to just throw it, so it's hard to like slow it down.
Yeah.
And you see like, okay, it has to go far. I got to get some snap, but it's more about just learning it smooth and then adding a little bit of speed later.
Adding the power as you go.
Exactly, right? So let's go through the checklist. Ground up, feet first, knees bent, posture, grip, thumb squeezing, not too much up and down when you bring it through. I like it, yep. A little bit more of, yeah. You want to feel some forward pressure here from this arm as you, you want to feel that forward pressure, less than an actual swing. Yep, it should feel like it's coming through here. Forward pressure. Kind of grip that one a little bit, but you get it. That's all right. Yep. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
All right. I don't know. We'll see about
It's
these.
the camera. It's just the nerves. That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So let's go really slow, and let's try very little reach back. Let's just get you to poke it through the right spot, so you can start getting aware with that. Make sure you have the wrist back when you're trying it. Yep. And don't let it be too low. It's more so here, right? Think about wrist above elbow.
Okay.
That's a good rule of thumb. That's another little thing that you'll hear people say. Because if it's below, you know you're going to swoop it or do something different, right? It should be at least in line with it or above it a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Start with that wrist back. Yep. And I'm going to try and guide it exactly where you want it, right? So you're going here. And so that's the thing that's different. Here, let's do it together because I want to see, I want to feel it too. So that's the thing is I'm starting it more, look at my whole arm. It's like this, right? There you go. I'm here, right? And then I go forward, back, see this angle, right? Now come slowly down through, yeah, more like that. Feel that different angle that I showed you, because having it at the right angle here is gonna really help make sure when you rotate, it comes back to the right angle. Yep, from there, yep. Yeah, more like that. Do it a couple times, start to get that perfect feel for it, like trying to make it go through that same slot in the air. Yep, that same slot. Yeah, better like that. So the other thing is, while you're learning, it's hard to time it and flow with it how you're supposed to. But if you think about the rhythm of it and go with the rhythm that you generate from that forward rocking, let the rhythm tell you when to pop it, right? So it's like forward, back, pop it. Forward, back, pop it. And it's like you get that rhythm in your head after you throw so many times, but when you're learning, it's good to kind of say it out loud sometimes. And make sure you're visualizing that disc coming out on that angle that you were practicing, right? Better! Yes! It's gonna be a slow process, but you start to see, okay, it's supposed to be right there.
Yeah.
Once you start getting in touch where that is, and you know how you're lining up and everything correct, it'll really start to click more. All right, let's try a couple more, and then we'll go get those. All right. Ground up first, right? So let's not get too excited. So feet first, good. Yep, knees bent, good. Posture's good. Is the thumb squeezing? Yep, there you go. Yep. All right. Yep, looks good to me. Make sure you're starting with that wrist back, and you want to keep it here. Let's think of a word for here. Chicken wing or something.
Chicken wing, yeah.
Right. So think about it. Keep the chicken wing.
Keep the chicken wing.
So that, because the thing that you're doing is you're also bringing it forward more like we don't want. You want to have it back the whole time.
Oh,
the only time you bring it forward is when you're popping at the end.
Okay.
Wrist back always. Yep.
Chicken wing.
Let's wait for this person because this one can't get. Let's just go pick those up and then come back.
All right. I will though. I'll go and subscribe on to you.
Alright, so let's go with yours. So we want to have you throw some bigger diameter, maybe. Sometimes they are a little bit.
All right.
I think you see it more with like putters. Putters are smaller diameter, like that people putt with usually.
Yeah.
Mids are usually close to being the biggest diameter.
Huh.
Mids could be the heaviest weight. That's probably why they're up to 180. Alright, so we got ground up, knees bent.
Chicken arm.
There you go. Yep. Wrist back. There you go.
too high.
I was gonna say, yep.
I was like, way too high. I felt it as soon as I was.
Yeah, that's all right. Yep. Let me see how you have those other things. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. For me, I actually have them resting like that, and I've heard people say with the sidearm that it is good to have them somehow supporting that outside rim, because this gives you some good stability, the two underneath, but having these somehow help control that angle as opposed to it being able to move more, right?
Yeah.
Those are there, they just stop it from wobbling. Just a little bit like that, yeah. More control over that, less wobble.
Feels like I can get it my wrist back further if I've got it. But
oh, if you don't? Okay,
yeah, but it feels more comfortable there.
Okay, yeah. So let's try this a little bit, and then if you're not liking it enough after a good amount, go back to what you were doing. You don't need a ton of wrist extension, right? You don't need all of it, and you don't want too much. Yep. And remember, we want it about here, coming to here. And so remember, it's not here, it's here, right? It's almost like, think about it this way, right? So you have your chicken arm here, right? And it's like elbows almost inside of you, right? That's what, right? And so it's almost like you're shrunken now. You expand, and then you shrink again, right? So contract, and come back through. And you're just twisting a little bit as you come forward with that, as you're coming back through with it, bringing it back in. So more like that, yeah.
So it's more of a slow instead of a.
So it'll be like this. What I'm saying is it's more of a reaching the energy this way as opposed to twisting and bringing it back through and twisting and swinging it like that, right?
Gotcha.
Right? Yes. Keep it outside. Yeah, because over here it's gonna make you do that. It'll make you go. It'll make you do so much stuff, right? This is gonna jump to the same spot even if you slip. Remember, we want it more like you're reaching with it as opposed to swinging it. Right? And so you're starting it here. Remember, you want to start it here. Right? And so you still have it here. You want it here. There you go. Think about hand by the shoulder.
So I want to start here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. When you start forward, it throws it off. Right? So we're here. Yep. Reach. There you go. Better, yep. But you just don't want to come down through it with that end, but you want to come here. So, your wrist there. Yep. Keep that tension on the wrist as you go forward. Right? Okay. More like that. Right? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Go get it. Yeah. Ooh. Almost got it.
All right.
Come on, you can do it too. Yeah. That's all right. You might have tried to go for it a little too much. Yeah?
Maybe.
Anytime I think I'm gonna get it, I mess up. All right. So let's go together. Let's try and match what I'm doing. I'll stand next to you. All right. Ready? Yep. So we're forward shifting towards that side. Shifting back in that direction. We're gonna pull, and then back here. See how I'm coming from high to low? That's the one thing you're doing wrong. So you don't want to let it come under, right? So the path of it should be here, here. See how it's coming this height through, right? But because your knees are going to be bent, right? That's actually going to be down at the belly where we were talking about, right? And so this is the middle point. That's below the middle, wrist above elbow, right? The wrist should be above the elbow when you come down through. Only time it should get to the same level is when you're getting to this point, maybe, right? Yeah, more like that. Yeah, do a couple with that feeling. Better, even though it went that way. Only thing is that the energy wasn't pushing to this side. Let's think about trying to throw it at that tree right here. Okay. Yep. Just kind of think about hitting that. Make sure your body. Yeah, I like how you're lining up. That's good. Remember, let the rhythm guide your timing and get that thumb squeezing. Thumb squeezing is going to help you not have the early release like you've been doing. There you go. Yep, want it on there. Remember that rhythm. Better. There you go. Knowing that you gotta push it to that side is so important, right? When your energy and your body's going with you, your arm's gonna always wanna follow it. If you just swing it, it's gonna go that way. Same thing backhand. If you just swing it, it's gonna go early release. But if your energy's going where you're gonna swing, it's always gonna go where you want, right? Way better. Good thing, I'm glad we had that recorded because then I can send that to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.